Alignment is living in accordance with what we deeply care about. Welcome to this episode of Sanctum, the Conscious I Life. What is missing? What is missing? What if there is nothing missing? What if what is missing is the end of a chapter and the beginning of a new chapter? What if what is missing is a new relationship entering your life that is deeply meaningful and completely changes your life? What if what is missing is the beginning of a new venture, of a new business, of an elevated position into a new phase of your life that expands and elevates you in ways that are beyond what you can foresee in this moment? Welcome to this episode of Sanctum, the Conscious I Life. What is missing? Yes, what is missing? What if there is nothing missing? My name is Oluwatobiloba. I am simply known as Toby, and I am the founder of Queen Oluwatobiloba One, a bespoke holistic advisory where I work exclusively in a one-to-one capacity with select clientele. Welcome to this episode. In this episode, I will be talking about alignment. What is alignment? When it comes to evolution and mastery, alignment is living in accordance with what we deeply care about, is living in accordance with your core values. Alignment is understanding what are your core values, what do you deeply care about, what is meaningful for you. Alignment is living with clarity, living with clarity of who you are, what you're here to contribute to, what what is deeply meaningful for you, where you invest your time, your energy, your resources. Alignment, living in alignment is an intentional way of living, intentionally living with the values that are deeply meaningful for you, whether this is in your personal relationship, whether this is in your work, whether this is in other areas of your life. For example, if you identify your core value as respect for all, when you live in alignment, you'll be living respectfully to everybody in your life. You will give everybody in your life equal respect, including yourself. This is living in alignment, is understanding what we deeply care about and living in ways where those things are true. Sometimes people have their core values, what they deeply care about, but they don't actually live those things because they're not living intentionally. So a lot of people have many ideas of what they are or what they think they are, but actually they're living in different ways to that. To live in alignment is to live intentionally with who you know yourself to be and to understand what your core values are and how you can intentionally live that. For example, you may be living in alignment with not contributing to violence or to damaging the natural resources of less privileged people by making sure that your investment are not invested in companies, in resources, in organizations where this sort of things can happen. To live in alignment is to live intentionally from a place of integrity, from a place of understanding that there are things that are more important than capital, than gain, but like really what deeply you care about and what is really meaningful to you. And when you understand this, living in alignment might be living with the capitals that the gains. Maybe that's what you deeply care about. Maybe this is what is really meaningful for you. So to live in alignment is very different for each and every one of us. And sometimes we live out of alignment. This is when we live out of who we know ourselves to be, of the intentions of how we choose to be living. When we do not live intentionally, when we come out of alignment, maybe because of the things happening in our life, we simply come back into our values. If really being respectful to everyone is something that is deeply meaningful for you, and you find yourself living out of alignment with that, you simply come back into alignment by making sure that you do the right things to respect everyone around you, including yourself. Living in alignment is living intentional. It allows one to live with clarity, with ease, with effortlessness, to live a life that is deeply meaningful, to live a life that you deeply care about. Living in alignment is also creating the legacy that you live in the world, not just when you're gone, but as you live every single day of your life. If you're somebody where love, respect, joy, happiness, wealth are important to you, then living in alignment will be living those things in a way where it is present in every day of your life. This is simply what it means to live in alignment, to live intentionally, if to contribute to the world, to change the world, to have a highly impactful creation on the world is why you're here. This is what you be living in alignment with. If what you're here to do is to make changes in politics in a way where it affects the right people and the people that need it the most, this will be living in alignment for you, and it's deeply understanding that in a way where it's clear, where it is understandable, where it is livable, where it is not just a concept. So welcome again to this episode. If you're just joining at this point of this episode, I don't know why you'll be joining at this point of this episode, but maybe you came in and somebody was listening to this and you're now hearing my voice. On this episode of Sanctum, the Conscious I Life, What is Missing, I am talking about living in alignment. Alignment is really understanding what do we deeply care about, what are our core values, who are we, and what do we want to contribute to. It creates a living legacy so that when we are gone, we leave the things that are actually what we intended to live. To live in alignment is to live intentionally. So I'll advise you to take a moment, maybe just sit or write and look at what areas of your life are you actually living in alignment. And do you even know what your core values are? What do you deeply care about? And if you identify those, are you living in accordance to those core values? This is the work that I do in the Bespoke Holistic Advisory, where I work exclusively in a private one-to-one capacity with select clientele. I work with clients to identify what are their core values, what do they deeply care about in this moment, at this stage of their life, what do they deeply care about in the future, what legacy do they want to leave behind, and what are the things that they do not want to carry forward. They do not want to continue, whether in their business, in their relationships, or even for their lineage legacy. This is the work that I do in the Bespoke Holistic Advisory. So, yes, living in alignment is living intentional and living intentionally with what deeply matters to you. Thank you again for joining me on this episode of Sanctum, the Conscious High Life. It has been lovely to share this episode with you, and I will see you on the next episode. Have a great day, have a great week, wherever you are in the world.